Reddit user Pentax25 says that his dad captured something rather unnerving on his porch camera late at night on a breezy April evening. The OP says he has no idea what exactly was captured and is in need of second opinions. Take a look at this piece of footage and make sure your volume is up relatively high. That's chilling. I just wasn't expecting that scream there. That was absolutely terrifying. Really caught me off guard. Especially just that one lone scream in the middle of the night. And apparently something else is also captured here. Right there, just those very faint whispers. So that's just absolutely bizarre, this whole video between that one scream, and I know the usual explanation when it comes to these screams is, oh, it's like a fox or some sort of animal. What really I think makes this video terrifying is that that can't be the case, because there's also these very distinct whispers heard. But obviously that scream is by far just the scariest part of this video. Let's play that back one more time. Just absolutely terrifying. And there are the whispers. The video goes on for about another full minute after the last sound can be heard, but sadly, or luckily depending on how you look at it, no other sounds can be heard afterward. Opinions on what was making these terrifying noises are divided, with some saying that it could just be something simple like a fox roaming around late at night through the neighborhood or some other animal. But as you can expect, others are thinking that it could be that of a skinwalker, a creature in Navajo folklore that is said to be a dangerous witch that has the distinct ability to turn into, possess, or disguise themselves as an animal. Looking at this video footage, that description seems eerily accurate. Luan Mendez is a YouTuber who is unafraid to put his life on the line in the name of a paranormal investigation, and as this video goes to show, ready to explore the scariest local legends he can find. One such legend revolves around a dismal force known only as La Señora Fantasma, or the Ghost Lady. The Ghost Lady is said to still roam the home she passed away in years ago. In life, she earned a reputation as a taker of lives and lived a wicked existence full of hatred until the very end. Her spirit is said to still reflect in the bathroom mirror. If you go in there and call upon her for an unholy visit, which is tonight's goal, they start by rather rudely calling her name outside of the property, hoping to get her to come through the window. She doesn't appear, so they step inside. The place has been stripped bare, but overall it looks somewhat inhabitable, at least as far as abandoned places go, but it's more about the way it feels than its aesthetics. Something about the small and cramped space that feels ill-fitting and all wrong, like nothing good has ever happened here, and only unimaginable horrors can befall anyone foolish enough to stay inside. They creep their way to the room where her legendary mirror hangs unblemished amidst the clutter. Luan stands alone while his friends keep watch. His tone is expectant and again, not very polite as he addresses the infamous Ghost Lady in more of a challenge than a request.
Aparece aqui, senhora. Vamos ver. Nada.
They are all about to leave, but they decide to try to turn on the shower just to see what happens. To their surprise, clean water drips out of a rusty pipe that shouldn't work and doesn't even have a shower head. This was probably where she hung what was left of the lives she took, upside down and filleted open to drain in the shower. Seeing this broken shower work again shortly after doubling her powers makes them rethink their situation and wonder if they should have taken a nicer tone. But that doesn't matter because it's too late now. They are walking towards the exit and everything seems much more negative and dreadful than the first time around, more of a feeling than anything else, as if a great evil has awoken and is spreading across the otherwise plain walls. And that's when she appears, not when Luan tells her to, nor in the mirror where she's supposed to be according to legend, but maybe that's the entire point. Her house, her rules. They hole up in the room for a while and discuss what to do, but the situation takes care of itself by the time they open the door. The lady seems to have proven her point that she is real and vanishes just as quickly as she came. This video would be easy enough to fake because realistically speaking, all they would need is for an older woman to stand in the doorway, which coincidentally is a lot easier to do than actually using special effects to get her into the mirror. For these reasons, I think this video might not be real, but that doesn't necessarily mean the legend itself isn't true, or that something else wasn't watching them from the shadows all along. As I look at this image, I can't help but feel a sense of unease. The three men all dressed in their tuxedos look like they're enjoying themselves at a wedding, but upon closer examination I notice something strange. Between the legs of the middle man, there's a ghostly pale figure of a small girl. It's clear that she is not a part of the wedding party, and her presence is unexpected. The girl's white nightgown and glowing white eyes gives off an eerie and unsettling vibe. It's hard not to notice the frown on her face, which makes me question her intentions. I can't help but wonder, who is this ghostly figure and what is she doing at this wedding? Is she a guest from beyond the grave or a lingering spirit? Whatever the case may be, it's clear that she is not here to celebrate. This image is a chilling reminder that the unknown can be hiding in plain sight. It leaves me with more questions than answers and a feeling of unease. A YouTuber named D-Dog Vlogs has been uploading since mid-2016 and specializes in exploring haunted places that are about as scary as they come, with a preference for historic locations whenever possible. He has been known to pair up with the likes of Mo Sargi and others in an effort to push his paranormal investigations to greater lengths and solidify his place in the YouTube ghost hunting community. On January 20th of 2020, he heads to a single-story home that is rumored to hold secrets so terrible that no one in the community wanted to share any details aside from a basic address. Curious, he heads to the site with fellow ghost hunters, Tay and Carlo, to see for themselves what this house holds. The first thing they notice is a glowing yellow light that flickers oddly over a door that's bolted shut. It's one of the only working lights left in the house, and it's shining like a beacon to get their attention.
But look at that room.
That's creepy.
But more on that in a moment. For now, watch how the camera goes out of focus like something or someone invisible is standing right in front of them. It happens again here at exactly 3 minutes, and ironically goes on until he's finished asking people to comment if they see anything.
Now, I don't know if these places are haunted or not, so comment down below if you guys see or hear anything. I'm not saying they're haunted, I'm just not sure.
After some more exploring, they return to this mysterious locked door and see marks where it had been repeatedly drilled shut with a padlock. Something incredibly strong must have been in here at one point, and the family must have been intent on keeping it contained. Yet when they open the door, they are surprised to find a colorful race car border above. This is a kid's room of all places. They suspect that a child was locked in here for long periods of time, and I think the evidence proves that much is true. Perhaps they were even kept here well into adulthood, might I add. Furthermore, they seem to think this section of the door was either struck or clawed out over time, possibly after an extended period of isolation, which would require immense strength. I think it could simply be termite damage, but you tell me. So I want to know why you think the child was locked in here. It could have been evil parents or behavioral problems. The extent to which they had to go in order to keep the child contained seems to indicate an extreme psychological state that would require them to be on alert at all times. Their child probably needed to be kept away from sharp objects and locked in at night so that they don't do something drastic to themselves or to their parents while they slept. On the contrary, maybe that's not the case at all, and the child had evil, disturbed parents who did this for no reason. D-Dog explores a different abandoned house 2 months later on March 28th, and this investigation gets so crazy that I need your help to figure out if it's real. Is this red paint, or is it what I think it is? I really hope not.
So much.
At 2 minutes and 10 seconds, it kind of looks like somebody got jabbed in the corner, stumbled a few steps forward to the center of the room, and then went to the doorway. Then they doubled back, still leaking, and probably crumpled in this corner where the trail ends, or maybe that's where they were put by someone else. Tiny red splotches leading upstairs gives me the impression that more than one person was here. This red substance has dried against the wall and hardly looks reassuring, and sadly in the corner of this upstairs room is more evidence, but creepiest of all, even more so than what's on the wall or on the floor, is what's in this small unassuming corner, or rather what happens when they go near. This is the only part of the video that becomes blurry, and for no reason at all. It's as if something is trying to get their attention, and perhaps figuring out for the first time that it has crossed onto the other side and can no longer communicate with the living. Now you're probably wondering where the homeowners were, and so was I. But with a basement flooded with solid ice, I think we both know the answer. This worrisome video I'm about to show you was posted on March 18th of 2017 by a person who had been teetering on the edge of self-destruction for years.
Things were much worse this time. Something seems to be after me. I don't know what else to say. Except goodbye.
You'll never guess what he does next, but first let me tell you what he has been through. His psychological torment would begin in early 2015, approximately 2 years before his final goodbye. That was when someone began knocking at his door almost every night for days. He lives all alone and is a very private person, so introverted in fact that we never learn his name. For him to have a visitor is not normal, let alone in the middle of the night. The knocks were annoying at first, but he figured it would stop if he ignored it. But when that didn't work, he decided to start documenting everything early on, in case he needed to take it to the police or something later. He also decided to confront it and defend himself if need be. This incident, taken on February 12, 2015, starts with 2 knocks that are so soft, it would be easy to think you're imagining them. But after 3 weeks of harassment, he is frazzled and hears every noise, so he springs to action ready to meet force with force, but there's just one problem. Nothing is ever there to confront. Listen closely to this part, because I hear chatter after he locks up. He installs a second camera outside the very next night on February 13th, 2015, Friday the 13th to be exact. Sure enough, it starts again. He opens the door and no one's there. It's not 2 different videos put together either, because his movements in both videos sync perfectly, like at 1 minute and 15 seconds when he smooths his hair. Even if he practiced this routine, it still wouldn't be this dead on. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention that this happens at 3 a.m. every night. Anyone would want to move, and he absolutely did, but his money situation meant he couldn't either continue to endure this or go homeless in the middle of the winter. Eventually, he decides to go outside before 3 a.m. and see if he can catch whatever or whoever is doing this on video. He doesn't see them, but he does find footprints leading away from his house into the woods. The footprint is separated in 2 halves, more like a hoof print than a foot, yet 2 legs instead of 4. Some people have said this could be a demon or even a cryptid. I don't know about all of that, but I know that he really did go out at 3 a.m. and I know this because I hear a train throughout the video. Oddly enough, this late night train is heard in all of his videos, and I think could be closely related. Something bad must have happened on the nearby tracks. By August 28th, whatever had left those footprints was looking for other ways inside both day and night. No longer was it confined to 3 a.m. Tell me if this is an animal or something way worse. I didn't hear any claws tapping. This was the sound of somebody fast. A raccoon or a possum would be doing this at nighttime. This was something big in the middle of the day, like a restless spirit. So after years of experiencing this and other similar encounters, perhaps you'll better understand why, after saying goodbye in March of 2017, he simply decided to open up the door and stop.
Goodbye.
Whatever that was, it sounded far from being a person. Over 2 years later, this mysterious final video was uploaded on January 1st, 2019. Those sound like church bells. Maybe this is a clip taken from a funeral. Could it be his? And whoever typed these replies doesn't act like him at all. This next video is very difficult to watch, but important to see. Blake Courtney has recently lost his brother Cody, and he feels he can no longer deal with the situation on his own. On top of that, he also recently broke up with his girlfriend after a serious relationship. His 8.5-minute video starts off pretty normal, and it sounds like he is just letting off some steam, until you realize that these are the last words of a man who decided to take his own life. Pay attention to what he says, because if you hear anyone else say something like this around you, then maybe you can get them help. He says that he doesn't want to feel anything anymore, which is a major red flag.
I just don't want to feel like this anymore.
If you know anyone who strongly and overwhelmingly feels that their life has no purpose or direction for long periods of time without changing their minds,
I'm not doing anything with my life.
it could be another sign. Watching him say goodbye to his family makes this video incredibly saddening, but at the same time, his family posted this online in hopes that it will save someone else's child from saying these terrible words.
Mom, I just want to tell you I love you. Thanks for always being my best friend.
If someone you care about is feeling this way, don't wait to talk to them about it and get them help. Ask them questions and let them know that they are not alone. It could make all the difference. And if you are feeling the same way as Blake did, then please know there is help available. I suggest befrienders.org because they are a non-profit who offer worldwide resources. A YouTuber named Chris Javier is making a random vlog around his neighborhood late at night when he gets the weird feeling that he's not alone. Moments later, the streetlight he's standing by goes off and on by itself, which he says it has never done before. He thinks it might just be his imagination, so he decides to further test the situation by directly communicating with whatever is controlling the light, which seems to respond more than once. Here's the first time.
What the heck is going on?
And then the streetlight seems to taunt him even as he walks away. Was this a coincidence? Or is there no possible way?
Now it's not even turning off. As soon as I just said something about it, it turns off.
A short while later, Chris sees a disheveled figure walk out from the back alley where he was just standing. They seem totally out of it and speak aggressively to an imaginary person in front of them. At this point, Chris decides to get out of there because it's early in the morning and no one else is around. But to his surprise, the stranger soon follows. The person then abruptly returns to the back alley from where they came and begins to shudder under the same streetlight that was acting weird earlier. They seem drawn to this area and they start swinging their arms wildly in a circle, totally forgetting about Chris as he films the scene for a while longer and then gets away, between the lights seemingly responding to Chris's voice and a man randomly appearing from an empty back alley moments later. There just seems to be too many coincidences in this video to deny the paranormal could have been at work that night. Millions of people all around the world wake up in the middle of the night for a midnight snack, and that's exactly what happened in this YouTube video published by Paranormal Nightmares. The uploader says her husband went downstairs in the middle of the night to pour himself a bowl of cereal. So far so good, but this seemingly ordinary trip to the kitchen at night quickly turns horrifying. Okay, so we start here. He just grabs, cereal out of the cupboard and a bowl. And right there, I'm sure you saw it. The cereal box just moves completely on its own. And what I like about this video in terms of authenticity is that the cereal box is coming straight from the cupboard. There's no possibility that it could be a string causing this. And right there it goes. And he's clearly perplexed by this, a little almost nervous. And right there the cereal box goes again. Some commenters on this video have questioned why there's seemingly a security camera set up inside the kitchen of all places, but the uploader has not responded to this. Perhaps they have them set up in various places in case of things like this happening. Of course, this could also have been done with the use of a very small string, but as far as I can see, it doesn't look like anything is attached to the cereal box. Plus, the way the husband reacts to this box moving seems very genuine. His facial expressions seem quite confused and a little creeped out, especially towards the end of the clip. Who wouldn't be freaked out if they saw their cereal box moving by itself? Originally published by YouTuber Bug Boho and analyzed by the channel Unexplainable, this video is trending in the international YouTube community. While searching a forest cemetery, these paranormal explorers encountered a horrifying sight: a witchy woman feasting on the passed away. An old gray-haired woman covered in streaks of red is standing over a figure lying prone on the floor. Below the woman, the person's face and body are covered, but the person is clearly unconscious.
Kenapa tadi kamu menyerang saya? Hah? Tadi saya hanya ingin bertanya kemana perempuan itu kamu sembunyikan, dan ternyata di sini ya.
Although we didn't really catch the witch in action,
Kamu ingin mengelabui saya tadi ya? Lawan saya.
whatever she's done to the person seems sinister. A female member of the paranormal crew appears to be using her powers to counteract this witchcraft. Will she succeed? I sure hope so. Most people have home surveillance cameras installed for a security measure, just in case somebody attempts to break into their house late at night or an unwanted visitor shows up. But Helen Brookshaw's home surveillance camera captured something much more terrifying than a burglar. It captured an unwanted visitor, but not the kind you'd think or hope for. Focus your attention on the upper left side here. So let's count. 1, 2, 3 ghostly figures here. Not just one, not just two, but 3 in total. And they just seem to be moving in unison, sort of just back and forth in this circle here. And to add to this, it also looks like this happens at a graveyard because these appear to be tombstones. The people who own this surveillance system must live beside a graveyard. And that makes sense because the title of this video is Ghost on My CCTV in Graveyard Next Door. So the fact that not only did they capture 3 paranormal presences on camera, but the fact that this also happens at a graveyard, I think just adds to how bizarre and creepy of a situation this is. I can't even begin to imagine how creepy it would be to have your home so close to a nearby cemetery or graveyard, but that seems to be the case for Helen. What gives this video even more credibility is exactly that. The footage is filmed in a graveyard, which is obviously going to be populated with ghosts and paranormal entities, and in this particular video, it seems like there are at least 3 or maybe 4 of them moving around in a strange, almost glitchy manner. Who knows? Maybe these are the spirits of passed away people going to pay their other family members a visit. A YouTuber named Yams is hanging out with his friend Bryson when they suddenly suspect that they saw something bizarre off in the woods located near Yam's house. When they took out their phone, they were able to take a picture of the strange phenomena in question, but they want to see if they can find it one more time, and this time in person. So they split up and go two separate ways in order to see if they can track down whatever it is they saw. Even still, I don't think they knew that this was going to happen.
What was that?
Right there. So I just want you to focus your attention. Upper left corner of the screen. There's clearly somebody walking in the woods here.
Will!
Right there.
Will!
And I think this is actually a case of just a complete stranger just sort of wandering around in the woods here. But this also seems to kind of be a bit of a residential area, and there doesn't look to be, maybe there's a pathway right here, but they look to be walking directly in the tree line here. Almost like they're trying to stay out of sight, but it certainly terrified this YouTuber. Out of the corner of his eye, one of the friends sees the creature in question lurking around the forest and begins to run away from the scene immediately and starts to call out his friend's name in order to find him and regroup. Luckily, just a few moments later, the two friends are back together, and the one filming informs the other that he believes he was able to capture the creature on film. However, some people in the comments have questioned this video's authenticity, stating that just a few seconds before the footage cuts off, you can see a long black object laying on the ground, which some people say is a costume. Then again, it could have just been something completely unrelated, but you never know. Either way, fake or not, this is one creepy video you won't want to watch late at night.
I love waking up now on Saturdays and being able to enjoy my family. We never have to.
This video of the Watts family goes from heartwarming to horrifying. When you hear the terrible backstory, Shannon Watts talks about how happy she is while her husband Chris sits on the other side of the room, his back turned. Chris doesn't say hello or even move during this part. His mannerisms are very stiff and distant. He doesn't even seem to be looking at his kids.
Bella, say hi. Bella, say hi.
Sometime after this video was taken, Shannon and Chris got into a giant argument and he took her life. He gathered both of his daughters and took them along with his wife's body to his place of work while he buried his wife while they watched. Going back to the happy home video and listening to his children cry for their dad is sickening. You want to somehow save them, but there's nothing that you or anyone else can do.
And we're super excited. Bella, come here for a second, baby.
Sadly, after they were done witnessing the burial of their mother, Chris took their lives next. For this, he was sentenced to life behind bars without parole. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, fear can take your breath away. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit, Tyler12798 explains that he took this video while he was 12 at his mom's office. Tyler writes, "There were rumors that a ghost named Kevin roamed the place. One day I recorded this. We heard deep moaning coming from a window. Let's see what happened next."
You! Keep open the door! Keep open the door! Close it! Open! Now open it! Open! Open!
A wooden door kept slamming and swinging of its own accord. According to Tyler, all the windows were closed when this occurred, so it was unlikely to be an issue of airflow. Some in the comments note that they have never captured the other side of the door on film, so there might have been someone behind opening and shutting it. Tyler claims there was no one. In the comments, Tyler also writes that when he returned from the bathroom, a sticky note on the door read, "Kevin was here." While many insist that outside airflow caused this, we'd like to think it was the Home Alone ghost playing practical jokes. So do you think this has a rational or paranormal explanation? Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Project Bad 720, this Redditor wrote, "We moved out of our last house because the activity was getting out of hand. Now it's acting up again." The Redditor also included that they're in West Texas. Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about. There was certainly some discussion about this video in the comments. Creepy Girl Tia wrote, "Sounds like you have brought something that a spirit is attached to, that you brought to your new place, or the spirit is attached to you." And Fiery Witchburn 333 has a similar sentiment saying, "The houses aren't haunted, you are, seek help." And the uploader responded saying, "I actually believe I am being followed, so this makes sense. Do you think that's what's going on here? Let me know in the comments." This footage was taken by an American tourist who was visiting Romania. He was just walking around a local zoo on his own, checking out the sights when he hears about a new attraction that is unlike any of the others. He is ushered into a dark farmhouse along with some other curious observers. Almost immediately, the tone of the video changes from skeptical to serious. It's hard to say exactly how, but something just feels wrong all of a sudden. You can hear the villagers talking among themselves, excitedly as they push past. Farm animals are making noises as the American makes his way deeper inside. This section is very dark now, and even though the Romanians are speaking in a different language, you can tell that people are sounding worried and concerned as they come closer and closer to the main attraction. Finally, the American tourist sees it for himself. Sitting across from them on a straw floor is what appears to be a white humanoid creature with black eyes and a wide gap for a mouth. It makes a series of tortured gurgling sounds and then charges towards its cage as the video quickly ends. It's hard to tell if this is a real creature or a man in a suit because the lighting is very dim. At the same time, Romania is a very rural country, and anything could be lurking in the woods. Maybe someone really did capture this thing and drag it back to society to be gawked at by paying crowds. If this thing is real, then the poor humanoid sounds like it's been severely mistreated and probably needs help. This Redditor's friend captured something mysterious on her Ring camera. The footage shows a chair sitting outside on the porch. One moment it is empty, the next a figure seems to be sitting there.
Okay, so now I'm going to slow it down for you guys. You see that? I don't know what the that is in my chair. The stool moves back and forth just once.
Some in the comments say the entire frame is jumping, which suggests a time lapse in the video.
Okay, so now I'm going to slow it down for you guys. You see that? I don't know what that is in my chair. The stool moves back and forth just once.
Without the full video, they think a pet or a wild animal may have perched in the chair, appearing like a person, but it doesn't look like any species of animal I've ever seen. What do you think is going on here? This unknown creature sighting, found frozen in ice, has gone viral over the years despite lacking a backstory, or at least one I was able to research. Some people say this creature sighting is a half deer, half man humanoid. They got trapped under the ice before they could resurface. I think this is a Photoshop though, and I'll tell you why. When you look really closely at this picture, as many times as I have, you'll realize the face is actually a Photoshop Jason mask from Friday the 13th. You can just barely mark out the air holes beneath the nose, like a hockey mask ordinarily has. The hollow eyes are also exactly the same dimensions as the Jason mask. It's a good Photoshop for sure, one that has fooled many people for years, but without video evidence. I have to believe this is a Jason mask with deer antlers photoshopped over it. Let me know if you think that's what it is. I would be pretty proud if I was the only one who finally debunked this picture. It's been creeping me out for a long time. Blake Dunkley wants to document this old haunted grocery store, and he challenges you to prove him wrong. Noises always seem to be coming from one room away.
You hearing this? It's the creepiest building I've ever been in.
Some much more obvious than others. He heads up the stairwell to prove that this is real. I think this next part sounds like a door slamming shut from somewhere above, and I also think it sounds like he needed to get the heck out of there.
Light up here. Oh, I don't know if you heard that. It was so loud.
On the second floor is a single door that is locked when Blake tries it. This is the only door heavy enough to cause the slamming noises coming from upstairs before, but it doesn't even open. The only areas left to check out are the break room and bathroom. Nothing of interest is in here, so he's just about to leave when he hears one final sound.
And noises.
In my opinion, this is the same door that was locked moments ago, now slamming one more time. A while back, I analyzed a video about these weird things found on the ice in Utah. It gave two friends a scare. The video was really eerie because it had over 1 million views, and absolutely no one in the comments could tell what these strange objects were, or if they were even alive. They were small and uniform in shape, and everyone was saying that they looked like eggs from another planet. I wanted to provide an update and say we've all been had. This bizarre sighting was later discovered to be an art project made by a student named Claire Lewis. Claire shows us that these weird things found on the ice were nothing more than a mix of flour and salt dipped in water. She estimates making over 1,000 of these and carefully setting them in the ice in a spiral pattern before walking away. Time passed, and by the time they were discovered, her footprints had been covered up by more snow and the objects had sunken into the ground, giving this creepy burrowing effect. So if you see this anywhere else and they try to tell you it's mysterious and unexplained, remember where you got the real story. A YouTuber named Frosty Flakes is searching for elk in the woods of Imnaha, Oregon, when his elk whistle attracts a pack of hungry wolves. Soon they find themselves surrounded and have to step carefully. They are way outnumbered and the wolves sound very close by, ferocious and closing in fast.
Wolves are exactly on opposite sides of us.
Every time they stop to gain a sense of direction, they can hear the wolves combing through the area where they just were. And I think this is where the pack decides not to pursue any further and lets them off with a warning howl. They sound close enough to charge the entire time, yet hidden so well in their surroundings that you would never know where to even look until it was already too late. This intriguing unidentified flying object sighting was captured on a windy night in Spain in 2009. A full moon is looming overhead. Watch to the left of it.
You know, it's kind of funny. You see like a little shadow over there on the left side of the moon there? I'm floating around there. You see that? I don't know. I really can't tell.
A strange light formation appears. At first, the lights are in disarray.
Wait a minute, look at holy shit, look at that. Look at the shape. Oh my god. Whoa, that's cool. You see that? Yeah. Look at it, it's hovering right.
But then they form a triangle.
Front, they look at perfect shape. Oh, that is
Many in the comments are astonished and are wondering if this is for real. What do you think? One creepy video shows us nature can be just as cruel underwater as it is above ground. A YouTuber named Trendy Outdoorsman is exploring the ice with his brother when they look down and find a really bizarre sight. A frozen bass is somehow sticking half out of the pond. They post a picture online, and after getting a huge response, the two return to the spot to make a video. When they carve it out, their discovery gets even weirder. The fish is trapped in the jaws of a large pike. Trendy outdoorsman thinks the pike couldn't eat the bass and floated to the top. From there, it must have floated through an old ice fishing hole, which then resealed. I have no alternative explanation, so I agree with this theory, but I was wondering if there were any other theories as to what could have caused this freaky frozen fish incident to occur. Did this YouTuber capture skinwalkers in a screaming match? While wandering through Gila National Forest, mysterious wailing echoed all around him. As the cameraman stood waiting, he heard the screams again. They were so terrifying, they spun him around. And again. But where is it coming from? And to whom does this wailing belong? Skinwalkers? Or something else entirely? I think I'm going to stay far away from that forest. You are probably asking yourself what could possibly be scary about ice. Well, it's not so much about ice itself, but rather what's growing around the area that forms the cubes and pushes them out. A thick layer of yellow filth has taken over this restaurant ice machine, which is somehow still in service and making ice for customers. I'm not even sure what this specific part of the machine is used for, but I know I regret watching it. The yellow substance has crusted into black mold along the corners. Again, I honestly can't believe this video was recorded in a restaurant that was still open. And that's just what this ice machine looks like on the outside. What's growing inside is even worse. Take a look at this and tell me if you would want this floating anywhere near your cold drink. You'd think the cubes would be absolutely disgusting and easy to spot, but look at this ice. You'd never realize there was much of a problem, or where it really came from. A YouTube channel called Exploring Mysterious India is at an abandoned house that was once occupied by 5 families. Since then, it's rumored to become so dangerously haunted that not even squatters will take their chances. The group worries about snakes in the leaves and thorny forest vines, but the real danger is already watching them from afar. While searching for an entrance, they find this rope tied in a perfect knot next to a water well that looks deep enough to easily hide a body. They find this discarded cross on the floor. Perhaps it was flung from the hands of someone who tried to cleanse this place long ago. A smeared red handprint on the wall gives the impression that no one stays here for long. Sometimes you don't have to catch a spirit on video to convince me that a location is haunted. Between the rope, the well, the handprint, and the cross, I think I have enough evidence to make up my mind on this one. A Russian police officer is roaming the snowy countryside when he comes in close contact with a creature that has since never been identified. The officer is traveling at a low rate of speed when suddenly something huge dashes across his headlights. The strange figure is only visible for a moment, then it's gone. Many YouTubers suspect this to be a Russian yeti. Others are sure that it's a man in a suit or even someone who is completely naked, though this theory is hard to believe because a person in Russia would probably freeze to death if they stood outside naked for very long. Look closely and you'll see that whatever it is, it's moving quite fast. It only takes the thing about 5 or 6 steps to fully get away, and I should mention that the snowbanks on both sides of the tracks appear to be very deep. An average-sized person would be struggling way more to get over them. Zoom in and you'll see what looks to be white fur hanging off of its body. Also, it looks to be hunched over and its arms almost touch the ground. If this is a costume, it's very convincing. Maxim enters another terrifying witch's house in this paranormal investigation. As soon as he walks in, the demon lets him know he is there. But it's when he lights up these demon dolls with ritualistic symbols drawn on them that he faces the real terror. While these may not be voodoo dolls, it certainly seems that Maxim just lit up the devil. The awful sound coming from the spirit box seems to be coming straight from the fiery depths below. You'd think Satan would be used to a bit of fire. Now you see him, now you don't. Posted by Calligram to the Chills Narrator subreddit. This clip appeared on YouTube's Scary World of Videos in October of 2020. Men in a forested area are just hanging out when a stranger is seen walking in the background. He passes behind a tree but doesn't come out the other side. The cameraman walks towards the tree and circles it entirely, but the man seems to have disappeared into thin air. The camera even pans up to see if he climbed the tree, but there's just no way. Where did he go? One Redditor, Shabba Bull, has the answer in the comments. He went back to the year he came from. Do you think this is the case? Or is this clever editing? I wish I knew for sure, so all I can say for now is I think this footage is definitively mysterious. Originally posted to YouTube by Dark Pirate Stories in October of 2020. This haunting clip takes you on a walkthrough of the Church of Ghosts in the Czech Republic. The cathedral is full of faceless statues covered in stone cloaks. Sitting in the pews, the image is unsettling, but it's meant to be. Lying east of Prague in a small town, this place has been around since the 14th century. When the roof collapsed in 1968, it went abandoned. Some said it was haunted. In a bid to restore it, local resident Peter Kugel and art student Jacob Hadrava teamed up, with the latter creating this eerie installation to draw people and interest to the location. It worked. So far, they've been able to repair the roof, and this location continues to get big attention online. During a mid-morning flight from Canada over the Appalachian Mountains in October of 2010, this passenger captured something mysterious from the air. Watch carefully. Can you see the reflections of light in the clouds? There also appears to be a disc-like shape that emerges from the clouds at the lower half of the screen. Watch again closely. Is this a genuine, unidentified flying object caught on camera? If not, what do you think this could possibly be? Donnie regularly sees what he thinks is a shadow person in his home. It's always in the basement, always coming from the corner of his eye, and always going way too fast to be a normal person. He can feel its anger downstairs, and he knows that it wants to do him harm. Donnie decides to put music on blast to see what kind of reaction he can get on camera. After 20 minutes, this shadow can take no more and races upstairs, causing these lights to move. Soon the same angry feeling returns, and Donnie knows that it's back. He starts recording down a dark hall, and these bottles move on their own.
You are not welcome here.
You and I both heard them fall, but no one else is around to knock them over. At least nobody that I could see, and just around the corner are the stairs leading down to the dark, cold basement. This video was taken in Nuevo Laredo, Mexico sometime in 2015. The person filming had been hearing loud disturbances all around his house and grabbed a camera before running outside. He is trying to track the source of the movement. It sounds almost like a squeaky trampoline. Nervous birds are chattering loudly nearby. The cameraman zooms in on some of his backyard plants, but whatever is making the noise isn't hiding there. Suddenly, a series of loud bangs come from directly above. He swings the camera around, and this is what he finds. What would you do in this situation? Maybe you'd scream, run for cover, or even grab a weapon. This cameraman stands frozen in place, however, too shocked to make a sound. Suddenly, the humanoid creature scrambles over the roof and makes a hasty escape. The person runs into the house and gets away. Both of them appear to be equally afraid of each other. If this long skinny creature is not CGI, then what could it possibly be? This intriguing unidentified flying object sighting was captured on a windy night in Spain in 2009. A full moon is looming overhead. Watch to the left of it.
It's kind of funny. You see like a little shadow over there on the left side of the moon there? Look floating around there. You see that? I don't know. I really can't tell.
A strange light formation appears. At first, the lights are in disarray.
Wait a minute. Look at holy shit. Look at that. Look at the shape.
Oh my god.
Whoa, that's cool. You see that?
Yeah.
Look at it. It's covered right
But then they form a triangle.
front. They look in perfect shape. Oh, that is
Many in the comments are astonished and are wondering if this is for real. What do you think? Final video is about as close as it gets. First, a piece of manufacturing equipment malfunctions and causes a pileup of white-hot steel material. The pressure around the blockage continues to build until coils of unformatted steel shoot across the factory floor. The first worker sees the carnage and runs in a zigzag pattern to escape. The second worker, a supervisor from the looks of his clean white shirt, has his back turned and doesn't notice anything until it's too late to react. A rope of liquid steel stops short at his feet and piles all around him. He escapes only to have the machinery behind him burst apart and send more rivets of steel his way. The equipment is shut off, and more of the substance falls to the exact spot where he was just standing. Take a YouTuber named Austin Shippey is using the Ouija board with a friend. They apparently make contact, but it's not necessarily the spirit's answers that make this video haunting, but rather the strange sounds that kept coming from the background. It seems like every time they ask a question, something weird happens in the background.
Hey.
Perhaps the weirdest moment of all comes at the very end of the video, when they are ready to leave.
Thank you very much for talking to us. Goodbye.
There is no reason for the pointer to squeak like that. They are on a smooth surface and are not pushing down hard at all. This video is of what appears to be a parent filming their child looking into a mirror. Everything initially seems like a normal clip, but things soon take a dark turn as the child turns to look at the parent, but his reflection does not follow. If you look closely, the boy's eyes in the reflection are now pure black momentarily, followed by bizarre head movements until the reflection once again matches the boy. This either has to be paranormal or elaborate editing. I'm leaning more towards the paranormal due to the sporadic head movements of the reflection, because it appears too fluid to be edited. Either way, I'm pretty confident you will regret having to look into a mirror after seeing this video. This creature in the sky is unidentifiable, but it's got 6 legs. We originally came across this video on the Spanish-speaking scary video community in June of 2019. The thing appears to have a pinhead, multiple crab-like legs, and finally wings. As you can see when it takes off from the tree branch it's crouched upon. The creature looks extraterrestrial. It's certainly something nobody has seen on Earth. Whatever it is, you don't want this monster hiding under your bed. We managed to track down the original source, and this turns out to be a CGI creature made by the Nicaraguan YouTube team, JJPD Producciones. So if you come across this video because it's spreading all over the internet, now you know its true origins. This isn't a gentle good morning. Published to YouTube by C4CAT in March of 2018. This is what happens when an early bird of a ghost is angry that you're not up yet. The video shows a man asleep in bed as window curtains nearly blow, at times pushing the entire curtain to the side. The young man at first remains undisturbed by this, At one point when the curtain is brushed over, you can see something white appear behind the bars of the window. Then an obscure flash of white passes close to the camera. Shortly after, there's a slow disturbance in the man's blanket. Part of it lifts until the entire blanket billows up. It's then ripped off of him by an unseen force. Like a bucket of cold water, this is one alarm clock you wouldn't want to wake up to. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Sallow Mac and originally published to YouTube by Bike Jin in March of 2020. This paranormal investigator may have just crossed paths with something very nefarious. While exploring an abandoned house, the investigator spies this creepy witchy woman in the hallway. Flames suddenly spark, running down the length of the hallway and flying up into the air in the adjacent room. It then falls in a giant blaze to the floor, burning in a ball on the carpet. For a time, the investigator watches the flames burn. It burns low, but then it bursts again, while the door behind it swings closed and then opens repeatedly. Is this a djinn's doing? Or maybe a witch's? Either way, get the heck out of there. This rare video was taken about a year ago. During the middle of a seance, the group is moving the pointer in a circle to clear the board when suddenly the camera woman asks,
"Can you manifest into an orb near Sam?"
There is a bit of an accent, but her exact words are, "Can you manifest into an orb near Sam?" Sure enough, a tiny ball of white light darts past the group shortly after. It could be editing, it could be a coincidence, or it could be a very polite and respectful ghost who is doing exactly as they were told. Leaked aerial footage was taken in late 2006. A formation of Italian fighter jets returned to base after conducting some training exercises when one of them, the one shown here, notices a thick black cloud fast approaching and only has moments to react.
Come? Oh, sta passando da pane in mezzo a noi.
He performs an emergency maneuver and barely avoids a commercial airliner full of civilian passengers at the last possible second. Thankfully, his training kicked in because the much larger jetliner could not have changed its course. Look again and you'll see they come close enough to almost clip wings. If they had collided, no one would have survived. Leaked video comes from the Kaulovsky airport in Russia. One of the planes loses all stability and wobbles unsteadily, trying its best to navigate a safe path through heavy air currents. The pilot continues to wrestle with the controls, which are becoming more unstable by the minute, and I think I see a small fire under the wheel. If he misses the runway here, there's no circling around for a second chance. The wings dip unevenly as the plane disappears behind the tree line. No one can see what is happening and they listen for the worst. A short while later, the plane miraculously emerges from behind the trees and touches down. The passengers get to live another day. A YouTuber named Panji Petualan is searching for frogs with his friends late at night along with anything else they can find. The team has their head down to look for prey, but at 21 minutes and 4 seconds, Panji looks up for the briefest of moments and catches this bipedal creature as it sprints away from the light. It happens so fast that they don't even appear to see it at first. It appears to be a pale white and instinctively flees from the light, which makes sense for a nocturnal creature to do. It does not make a sound as it moves, despite being the size of a human and a very close distance away. An office worker is sitting quietly at her desk when she throws down her phone at 1 minute and 18 seconds, which begins to flare up and sizzle. She leans over the device to clear her desk at 1 minute and 25 seconds, which I don't think was the right decision. If the battery pops here, her face is in direct range. They all gather around the broken phone and record it in case something else happens. It continues to sizzle from the middle of the screen, but other than that, it looks strangely fine. Try and translate what they are saying here if possible. A mother in Argentina caught this strange sighting on tape while watching her son Benjamin play in the kitchen. The toddler is babbling away happily when suddenly a tiny creature runs across the kitchen floor. It starts out running around the corner and quickly disappears under the dresser. The mother says that this goblin stank horribly as it ran outside to their garden. She often hears Benjamin talking by himself in his room, but now she believes that he may have been communicating with the goblins. She thought the creature was a mouse at first, but after she saw it was running on only 2 legs, she didn't know what to think of it. Apparently, she claims to have captured the goblins on tape no less than 5 times, though this is the only video footage that is surfaced. There's a lot of questionable videos on the internet, but here's one with a very legitimate source. This footage was taken by the Alaskan Bureau of Land Management and posted on their Facebook page. Swimming in the chilly waters is what some believe is a distant relative of the Loch Ness Monster. Others say that this creature wasn't really moving at all and that it was probably a floating piece of rope. Even if it was staying in place, a lot of sea animals are known to remain stationary for long periods of time, so that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not real. Only Mother Nature knows for sure, and she's not telling. Fair warning, this video is said to be cursed, so I am in no way responsible for what happens to you as a result of watching it. They are recording nothing in particular when a horrifying monstrosity rushes out of the pitch black backyard and straight towards the camera. I hope this video isn't real, but if it is, then it doesn't look like the person had much of a chance. Hopefully you won't befall the same fate for watching. Scary restaurant video was captured in a bar in Singapore late at night. First, a stool falls over, which I guess could just be a string, but their reaction seems realistic as they all question how this could happen. The entire time, none of them realize that they are being watched by the faint outline of a woman who does not move or make a noise. Maybe it's just me, but it almost looks like this woman's feet are off the ground, and she is suspended in the air. Thank you so much for getting me to 30,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 40,000 subscribers next. Thank you.